Robin Hood sends a super chat saying, any thoughts on Don Cherry Poppygate? Yes, I do have thoughts on that. Yeah, if you're not Canadian, you may have no idea what the hell Don Cherry Poppygate is. But we have this Canadian figure in Canada, Don Cherry. He was a coach for years before he became an on-air color commentator of sorts for hockey, for the NHL, for Hockey Night in Canada every Saturday. So every Saturday he would be on in between the first and second period with Ron McLean talking about hockey. And he's this brash, outspoken dude, wears bright, colorful suits, all that stuff. But the problem is he has a history of racism, of ignorance, of speaking down on people that are, of calling Europeans and French hockey players wimps, of pretending racism isn't a thing, of pretending that punching people in the head doesn't actually lead to brain damage, and climate change doesn't really exist. And he also, in 2003, he argued for Canada to get into the Iraq War. A position now, the Iraq War, that conservatives, diehard conservatives and Republicans admit is a mistake. Just to show you how objectively wrong Don Cherry has been. I mean, yeah, speaking on climate change, there was one time where he said, it's so cold outside, but you and you pinkos talk about climate change. What climate change? It's so cold outside. Climate's not the weather. Now, the problem is, so more recently what happened, essentially Don Cherry, I don't have the clip on me, but summarizing somewhat, Don Cherry said that immigrants come here for the milk and honey, but you don't respect us because you don't wear the poppy to respect our veterans. So for Remembrance Day, people wear poppies to respect veterans. It's like a red flower on your red flower pin on your shirt. And Don Cherry claimed that immigrants don't wear them. But they do. Everybody does. Like it's again, painting this idea of the other. Oh, the immigrants just come here to take all our things, but they don't actually respect the country. And so after saying that, he got fired. I mean, we're talking about a guy who's well into his 80s, very long history of being this, well-known Canadian, got fired because he wouldn't apologize. So there definitely was it happened a few days later. He was essentially, I'm not sure if it's confirmed, but it sounds like behind the scenes they were trying to get him to apologize so they can move on. He wouldn't apologize. Ron McLean, his co-host, apologized for not reacting to what Don Cherry said. Don Cherry didn't apologize. They ended up firing him on Remembrance Day, actually, on a Monday. And huge uproar from parts of white Canada, where these people, so his defenders are claiming, well, you're just offended that Don Cherry speaks his mind. You don't like what he says because that offends you. Has nothing to do with being offended. It has everything to do with the fact that Don Cherry is a powerful person. Somebody with a national platform to millions of people. Lots of kids watch hockey, obviously. Lots of kids watch Don Cherry, hear what he is saying. The impression that Don Cherry puts on those kids and people in general is just not a realistic worldview, not a worldview that actually is based in reality. So he paints this worldview of immigrants are the other, good Canadian hockey boys. They're the real hockey players. It's this completely, like, it's not even antiquated because it was always wrong. His position on these issues were always wrong. And just now, finally, he's fired. He should have been fired 20 years ago, but he's just now fired. And some people are bothered by it because they think he's fired because of PC culture or because he's offended people. No, it's because Don Cherry doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, and he's a platform to millions of people. The firing is perfectly legitimate, and again, it should have happened years ago. So those are my thoughts on that. Again, if you're not Canadian, you may have thought, what the hell did I just say for the last 5 minutes? But if you look up Don Cherry, you'll have a better understanding of what that's all about.